Hello everyone and welcome back to another Be Connected session. I'm with you as always. I'm Emily and I work at the City of Marion Libraries and you might find me at Hallett Cove. Today we're talking about understanding your data plan. We're covering everything from data to Wi-Fi to what uses Wi-Fi, what's the difference between a home network and your mobile phone network or a Wi-Fi network. All of this will be explained and cleared up and hopefully it'll be fun at the same time. So let's get into it. Click, click, click. So today we're going to look at, and I've got a little cat motif today, so keep an eye out for my little cats. Again, I do these every week and I try and make them fun each week, so I add extra things each time. Today we're going to start by looking at the Be Connected website. We're going to be checking out the content that I access and learn about and pick up for you. I read it, I interpret it, and I make it into a slideshow format, so this can actually be done at home, and I'll talk about it in a second. We'll look at what is data, very basic beginning, how it's measured, how much you need, what the average household might look like, home and mobile networks, so the two different types of networks that you'll get access to and probably have plans or accounts for that you have with your telephone company. What is Wi-Fi? What does it mean? Why is it called Wi-Fi? That'll be explained. And we'll get to questions if we have any at the end. Hopefully I'll cover everything. So Be Connected is an online government initiative to get older Australians especially, but just about every Australian online and using the internet and being comfortable with it. It has an expansive topic collection, and of course everything I've done throughout my Be Connected webinars have covered something from the Be Connected collection. So it's got everything. It starts with very beginner level, entry level things all the way up to expert stuff. So we're kind of mid-range here, but we're definitely getting into some more heady ideas, I suppose. It's easy to use and you can sign up to keep track of your progress if you like. So what is data? Data is the unit by which the internet is measured. So use of the internet itself, accessing and downloading from databases, essentially. So if you were to access the internet, this uses up data. Data gets not consumed, but there is a transfer between your either phone or computer and then the internet servers all over the world. And your data allowance is allocated by your internet provider. So more people would be, in general, you're going to be having a larger home plan for something like your modem at home, which I'll go into in a little bit, and a smaller plan for your phone on the go kind of thing. So yeah, it's usually scaled that way where you have more access to the internet at home, because generally when you're looking things up online, you're going to be at home. But of course you want to do that while on the go or do internet banking on your phone or something like that. You'll need a mobile data access as well. So that's what that is. So I'll talk about now how it's measured and what we talk about when talking about data size. So the smallest form, okay, let's go in very beginning. I've done a lot of research for this and it does your head in after a little bit. So I'll try and be as concise and simplify this a bit. So data in general is transferred using ones and zeros, which your computer translates. It's a totally computer language. You can decipher it yourself with some calculations. It takes a long time and I'm glad the computers do it because it's a lot to go through. If we're talking about file size, you're going to be thinking about kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, and then terabytes in terms of storage. So a byte is an eight bits, and bits are what we call the ones and zeros that make up computer language. So as you can see down here, I have a byte of binary code, a byte of course being 8 bits. And this 8 number length of code spells out the capital letter B. So Be Connected I kind of went with. It's a very intricate kind of system, but it's kind of the background as to why you have megabytes, kilobytes, gigabytes. And of course, it all equates to, so 1 kilobyte is 124 bytes, and so on and so forth. I'll talk about in just a tick the different sizes so we can kind of get a grasp of what this kind of means in terms of, okay, well, what's a video? How big is a video? How big is my email? Is it a lot? Is it a little? And we'll talk about that as well. I just think it's so interesting. I think Yeah, it's just something I can't always comprehend. It's a lot of calculations that your computer does, translating all in within a few seconds. It's very impressive. So to kind of get the scale, we've got bytes at the top with the very small tip of the triangle, and then terabytes all the way at the bottom with the larger base of the pyramid. So that's what that is. It's very interesting. Let's move on to kind of looking at the scale. So how much data you're using. So I've got on the right hand side here a sort of ascending chart of data usage. So at the lowest, we've got emails and websites, and at the highest, we've got downloading photos and streaming movies. So everything you do online will use data, because what happens in terms of how data moves is that you'll send and receive data. So in order to get access to something, say you're opening up a Google photo or something like that, you're on a website and you want to click on a photo and have it load up and view it, you'll click on it and that actually sends information to the owning server on the internet. It says, this person's wanting to access this, and that's all sent with data. And I do this because it's all little ones and zeros. It's hard to sort of explain, but you send out information to receive it. And then once it gets that message on its end saying, this person would like to access this, it'll then send through the information in a larger format, of course, because your request is going to be very small. It's not going to need a lot of data, but the actual image, video, text is going to be very big because it's made up of several different types of complexity. And that's what I talk about here. The amount of data that something will take to download, for example, will depend on the complexity of the file or document or image. Photos have a smaller file size than audio files, but they are in turn smaller than video files, with them being at the very top here. So something like streaming movies and videos, say from Netflix, is going to use a lot more data than something like just viewing your emails or your day-to-day browsing on the internet. Something like, movies very big. Internet radio and audio like music is mid-range. Ebooks even less so. So anything that is less complex. Texts like written word, typed out, lower than music, for example, which is an audio format, which requires lots of different things working at once. Again, files of the same type will still vary in size depending on their complexity, which kind of intrigued me. I always thought that for example, a digital camera with the same resolution, if you took one picture of, say, I have a black TV screen over here. If you took a picture of a black TV screen, that's going to be less complex than if you took a picture of a parade of people in bright colors, for example. And this is because, and this is probably going a bit too deep, you don't have to know this, it's just intriguing, I think it's interesting. The reasoning behind that is the image as it's being uploaded or being interpreted by the computer, the image is going, this is made of a black pixel, this is also a black pixel, and in relation to all these, they're all black pixels. So it's a lot less information for the computer to have to translate. It goes, it's a mostly black picture, I can make that work. Whereas a highly colorful crowd of people, they're going to have very different colors all throughout, all their clothes, everything they're wearing is all going to look very bright and different, and that increases the complexity. So even if you're taking two photos with the same camera, depending on what your picture is of, it's going to be a lot bigger or a lot smaller. And I thought that was so cool. All right, so let's have an idea of what 10 gigabytes can get us. So for example, if you've got a phone plan and you're thinking, okay, well, do I need to increase, decrease? Do I have enough? Am I getting the full use of my phone, for example? That's a question I get a lot. What can I do to use all this data up? I know a few people that come up and say, I have 9 gigabytes. What do I do with them? Or megabytes even. No, it's always gigabytes. And of course, you can just show them this lovely graphic. If you get 10 gigabytes of data, you can get around 2,000 songs, view 4 movies, browse the web, doing anything for about 400 hours plus. So many, everything, it's all there. But I think that's such a lovely graphic to show. And you can really get the idea that 4 movies can equate to this many emails. And yeah, it's just very cool. Any questions about that? Let me know. Kind of all adds up to me because, of course, as we've seen here, movies are at the top of high usage, being gigabytes. The thing above gigabytes was, of course, terabytes. So here we go, terabytes here. And terabytes are often, you won't ever have to download a terabyte of something because that is an immense value. It would take maybe I'd have to look up how quick our bandwidth is these days, but it would take much longer than a few days. It would take several days, maybe a few weeks. I'd have to look that up to get the correct answer though. So let me know if you're interested in how long a terabyte would take to download. But terabyte is generally used these days as a data storage format. So you can buy hard drives that have a terabyte of storage or a few terabytes. Terabytes are still somewhat expensive. They're the highest amount of storage you can get on a general consumer market. I'm sure there's another level up that maybe they've made for computer hardware. But at least for what you can buy, you can get a terabyte, which is more than enough for most people. If you find that you're someone who, I don't know, keeps a lot of movies or is a filmmaker or records a lot of audio and visual medium, you may want to start using a terabyte hard drive because your gigabyte, I should say, your gigabyte use hard drive is going to get filled up eventually. Yeah. So a terabyte, sort of a decadent amount of space. Most people don't ever have to fill it up, but it is nice to have. So moving forward, home networks. I've got my cute little cat again riding a keyboard, I think. So home networks are the physical cable connection that attaches to your home. This is run through a phone line, an aerial phone line, or even a underground one. It's usually the case that the NBN will run up to your phone line through the ground cables, and then it'll attach all the way up your antenna. Well, it'll attach to a Stobie pole most likely, and then run to your house. And then from there, that cable is attached by your mobile provider. So Telstra, Optus, whoever you're with. They'll then connect that up, give you a modem, which is this physical little box, which I think I talk about in a second. Where's my modem gone? Here it is. I'll just show you here. I'll come back to the next picture. This is your modem. You probably got one at home at the moment, or you at least know what one looks like. It's a little box, yay big, can be bigger or smaller. Sometimes they're horizontal or vertical. And they all have different formats, but they come with your telephone plan, and it's your way to get internet to your home. And from there, you can do Wi-Fi on it, which I'll explain in just a second, as you've seen. It runs through your modem, so the home network's attached to your modem because of thanks to your telephone company. Not making this very clear. And then you can connect to your modem via either an Ethernet cable, which is less heard of these days, but it is a very quick connection, and it's not going to drop out at any point. Or you can have it set up as a Wi-Fi network. So here we have an Ethernet cable. This is sort of the shape you'd have on the side of a laptop, a computer, a printer, anything that would require internet access. Some things like DVD players or TVs or consoles, like gaming consoles, will have a similar plug, especially if they require internet access. This is because you may not want to connect with a Wi-Fi network, or you may find that your Wi-Fi network isn't as quick as it could be, which is fair. There are many different factors that can slow down your Wi-Fi network that you've set up at home. And I'll talk about that in a little second as well as we get into Wi-Fi. But let's have a look at mobile networks and how they differentiate from home networks. A mobile network is the series of transmitters that are set up in the real world. You can go out and see them. We've got one in the car park at Hallett Cove of the Cove Civic Centre Library car park. These are mobile phone towers that are owned by the telephone companies. The more famous, not famous, but the ones you may know are the Telstra towers out in the Mount Lofty Ranges. You can actually see them generally on a clear day all the way out. There's sort of 3 telephone towers, and these are, the big ones at least. But you have other transmitters all throughout. Generally, they're in a public location. They're not going to be in anyone's backyard, for example. So car parks are great. On top of shopping centres, things like that, you'll maybe be able to see them. They're usually just like, as you can see, like this kind of tower. And then they'll have a series of like boxes on the outer edge of the very top that send out different forms of mobile access. We call it, the mobile networks are referred to by their generation, so 4G or 5G networks. So before 5G, there was 4G. Most people are on 4G at the moment. They still run 3G. And the only difference between these higher or lower numbers is the speed at which you can access information. So 4G is the best we have at the moment, but 5G is coming in, but they're installing new 5G sending and receivers that can work faster. Not everyone's devices are going to be set up for 5G, which is fair. It's still sort of a new technology. But essentially the difference between, say, 3, 4, and 5G is how they've been able to compress waves. Now, this is also very, to me, it's sort of vague, and you don't have to know this. But for something like 4G, it's going to have some fairly rapid waves kind of close together, meaning that it has a long range and it has a high frequency at which you can transfer data. So it's kind of a good mix of both worlds. 3G had a longer range with wider waves, and it could get a lot further, but information wouldn't travel as quickly. But 5G is as fast as we've got it yet. I say we, people who make this technology. It's as fast as we've got it, and it has a very sharp wave, which means that its range has decreased, but the speed at which it can download or upload information is very, very quick. It's, I don't know how many times faster, but it's at least double, and then maybe more than that. So the only problem with 5G, of course, is that because it's such a short range of distance that it can access mobile devices, is that they're going to have to set up some more towers for that to work. So I think they're kind of trying to figure out how to improve the technology before having to do that, or maybe that's the only option. But of course, we all want our information now and fast. And the only reason you can see me right now, for those who are watching live, is of course because of these network towers. So hopefully they'll get faster and better. Yeah, as long as they don't, pop up in my backyard, for example. They're pretty good about it. So yeah, faster and stronger than Wi-Fi connections are these mobile networks. And now I'll talk about the difference between a mobile network or a home network and your Wi-Fi. So what is Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is the wireless way to connect to the internet. This is when your phone, your tablet, your computer would never have access to the internet otherwise, and it has to connect to a port of some form. So usually they're sent through a modem or a router, depending on what you like to call it. It can connect to any smart device, which I'll talk about in a second, and allows multiple devices to connect to it at the same time. So this is what you'll have in a common household with more than one person living there. They'll have, say, their phone, another person's laptop, maybe your smart TV, all connected up to your one Wi-Fi modem, and you'll be able to access the wireless that way. For those who are interested, I forgot to mention previously, if you are interested in what Wi-Fi stands for, it's sort of a joke from when it was first invented. So people think it means, oh, wireless something, but it's kind of a take on hi-fi. So hi-fi audio, for example, high fidelity audio or visual media. It's their version of doing, oh, it's wireless fidelity. Which I thought was so cute. So that's why it's called Wi-Fi. Much like hi-fi, it is capitalized. So keep that in mind when typing it in the future. It's a pet peeve of mine. I'm not going to catch you out for it. I'm very nice. It can connect to any smart device, and this is talking about anything that has access to an internet connection. So that's, again, the modem symbol there. But we'll have a look at what other devices you can connect to. So we've got a very traditional, your tablet, your phone, laptop. But then, of course, we've also have a television, so a smart TV, some speakers, as well as a fridge. Smart fridges are a thing these days. You've got other things as well, like so sort of home assistants, so like Alexa, Siri, OK Google. I think that's what it's called. All these other applications, or even say your lights. If you get your lights set up with the wireless system, you can remotely turn them on and off. So if you're not home, you want to turn the lights on, or I suppose even put the oven on, that can be done. With the fridge, it can let you know when things have started to spoil. This is more because you've told it what time you've put something in, not because it has all these incredible sensors. But it can tell you if the power had been out and your things might be, kind of rotting. It doesn't know how long it's been out for, or it can tell you the temperature and you can adjust it. All these things which maybe are a bit overwhelming to some, and even to me, I think a smart fridge isn't necessary. I can just go and open the fridge and see what's there, or I'll know what I put in there. Don't always need these extra smart devices, but it is kind of cool to have. So that's what Wi-Fi is. It's sort of arbitrary. It's a system that comes out from the router, wireless. This is why it's got that kind of Wi-Fi symbol. I don't know if I've got one here, but of course it's that little dot and then those 3 arching out bars that'll tell you if you have a Wi-Fi connection, depending on which bars are highlighted or dimmed, and that'll tell you how good your Wi-Fi is. So connections can become weak or strong depending on where you are in relation to the router or the the modem, which is what I should call it. In the library, if you have a look around, we of course have free Wi-Fi that you can have access to. If you have a look around and have a look at the ceiling, we've got about 4 or 5 that you can see while in one place, because you can see a lot of the ceiling, and it's very cool. And the closer you are to that, the better your connection is going to be. So your phone or device will register, that's a connection, and it'll connect, and then you're sending and receiving information about, I'm opening the internet, let's access the internet, it'll send it up, come back. I like to imagine it as physical waves, but I don't think that's how it looks. Hard to say. But that's kind of how Wi-Fi works. It's nothing that your phone can have inherently. It's something it connects to. So you produce Wi-Fi from a modem and receive it on the phone. So modem makes Wi-Fi, phone receives Wi-Fi. Wish I had more graphics to help, but you'll have to settle for my hands today. So public and free Wi-Fi. This is a bit of a point of contention, which is fair because it is sort of a fraught area. Consider when signing up or logging into a free network, such as the one at the library or a shopping centre or a Hungry Jack's or a McDonald's or something like that, a public place. They'll oftentimes have access to free Wi-Fi. Sometimes only if you are a paying customer or if you know the password, they'll let you in. Consider when thinking, is this safe? Consider who else can access the network. If there isn't a password, it means anyone can access the network who is within range of the Wi-Fi signal, meaning that your information can be less secure on a public network. So we recommend avoiding banking or sending any of your personal information using the free Wi-Fi. Generally, free Wi-Fi is sort of something that you use if you are either very low on data or have totally run out on your mobile device, or if you've got your iPad, which may not have, or other tablet format that may not have internet access normally, and so the only way to connect is to jump onto a Wi-Fi network. So when using a free Wi-Fi network, you do consider how much you're willing to share. Now, normally the networks are not monitoring anything. There's oftentimes little in place to sort of say, no, you can't do that, because of course it's just sort of internet access freely. The thing to keep in mind that people are sort of generally concerned about is that if the network is totally open and free and you can connect without a password, it means that another person could be waiting on the network, maybe trying to hack it or piggyback onto your device. Piggybacking means they use certain programs or malware or viruses to access what your phone, tablet, laptop is doing and either view it or record keystrokes even. Keystrokes being the actual pressing of the buttons on a keyboard. So if you typed hello, the keystrokes would be HELLO. Now it's somewhat nefarious, yes, but I find, at least in my experience, it's not come up too often. Your phone, laptop will all have things in place to kind of protect it. If you've ever opened up especially at a public library, for example, opened up a web page and said, this site isn't secure, navigate away, or would you like to continue? Things like that. Your computer and your browser are giving you warnings and going, this site seems a little fishy, should we use it? So we've got our free Wi-Fi here. So keep an eye out, little fishy. It's a mouse, so cute. But what we recommend using instead is a personal hotspot, also known as tethering, as a safer choice for using a network out and about. Now, of course, if you have access to data on your phone, you can make your own personal hotspot, meaning that a friend or someone you're with can use your internet to access the internet on their phone or device. Of course, if you're totally out of all data, Wi-Fi is going to be your only option because, of course, we've got, at least at the library, several modems that we've paid for the internet and that you get the free access to the Wi-Fi, because that's just what we do with libraries. We give stuff away. We love it. But yeah, if you have access to a personal hotspot or someone else can hotspot for you, that is a very safe choice. It's their own mobile, their own network, and it always asks for a password, meaning that no one else can jump onto that network while it's open. And even when you have it open and you've got the password and put it through, the person on the other end is going to get that. Now, this person would like to access your network. Is that okay? And you go, yes or no, depending on if you know the person that's trying to connect. It will use your data. That's just how it works, unfortunately. Anytime you access the internet, it's going to be using data. It needs to use it up, send it out, all of that. If you don't know how to use a personal hotspot, I'll just get my phone and I'll see if I can show you. Pardon me. It'll be accessible through your settings. So let me open up my settings. Now it's either settings or system preferences. It's that little cogwheel, the little gear symbol on your phone where you can update and change your settings. So I'm going into mobile networks, and maybe it's in hotspot. That would make more sense. Oh, sorry, other wireless connections, personal hotspot. So you can enable, I won't show you because it's got my password and stuff on it, but you can enable your personal hotspot by turning it on from the settings menu. And then you can change either the name of your network. So mine just the name of the phone. It's an Oppo phone. And then put a password in, and then you tell your friend or whoever you're with the password, and they can log on that way. So it's very secure, and I highly recommend that as an option. So I think that's the end of today's session. I've breezed through it. I've done so well. I don't have a great record of being quick with these, so I'm very pleased to have zoomed through that. So what I'll do, I'll quickly pause my recording and ask questions and answer anything that people may have to ask, and I'll be right back. Thanks. Excellent. Thank you very much. Shall we continue? I think so. Oh, here we go. There we go. So how to stay connected with us. The best place to check first, if you have access to it, is jumping onto our Facebook or Instagram page. We are at Marion Libraries. Sorry, City of Marion Libraries. I missed the first bit. Otherwise, if you're not on Facebook, you can access Facebook without having it. It's just sort of, if you don't want to use Facebook, you can check our What's On page on the City of Marion Council website. We are just under Be Connected. There's lots of other stuff to check out amongst the libraries though as well, so please have a look there. Subscribe to our library newsletter. I think one came out yesterday, I think. I'd have to check my emails. But Paula and Rob and everyone had set that up, filled it up with lovely book reviews and events that are coming up, things to get excited about. They all come out in our Library Loop newsletter, or you can visit us. We are open, or give us a ring on 8375-6755. Give us a call and we can say hi. So that's how to connect with us. I will let you know before I leave for the day. We've done very well, very quick one. I'm very pleased. Coming up for the next month, the month of August, I have a whole series of, I've got a 4-week course, is kind of how I've set it up, of an introduction to your device. So I'm starting at very beginner level, moving into things like beginning with the general system settings, how to use a touchscreen, any kind of like hints and tips I can find for you, things like, certain swipe actions that most people don't know about or haven't been taught. And then I'll be moving into things like what are apps, what are good apps to have on your device, helpful tips and tricks like that, and then moving into some more advanced stuff at the last week. So that's every Wednesday through the month of August. So more information is on the website, and you can check out the What's On page on the council website for that one. Yeah, so hopefully I'll see a few of you there. That'd be wonderful. Excellent. So I think I'm all done for the day. Thank you very much. I hope you've all had a lovely time and learnt something. I always learn something new whenever I set up one of these webinars. So once again, I'm very pleased to have learnt something along with you all. So I'll see you next time. And until then, happy learning. Bye.